Hello, and welcome to week 7 of the NBBL. I'm Zand, and if you're watching this, I think you've made it to the end of a long marathon, assuming I upload these videos like I intend. So this is it. We're all caught up after this week. We've got one more regular season game next week, and honestly, the games we have going right now are very important. We're 4-2, our opponent this week is 4-2, and our opponent next week is currently 4-2. So how everyone does these next couple weeks are really going to decide playoffs, who gets maybe buys. I'm not sure that there are buys, but at least who gets top cut versus people who barely scrape by, and it's all on differential. Luckily for us, we are currently sitting at third because of our differential. There are a lot of 4-2 players, but we're sitting at the top of that list because we are still at plus 11. This week, our opponent, I'm not going to go over the whole team. I'm waiting on him to ping me to start searching, but super scary team offensively with a really annoying defensive core. So he's got the kind of the two-pronged issues. He's got Palafin, which no team really has a switch in for unless you have a water immunity. He's got Spectrier, huge ghost type spam. Luckily we have decent answers. I don't know that it shows up, but it very well could. Things like Toxtricity with Terra. So like, what are you supposed to do against that? It gets +2/+1 throat spray with boom burst. Like, it just blows their teams. So we're trying to check for that, but it's really terrifying. And then defensively, he's got Gliscor, Scream Tail, and then Hitmontop for his removal. His only removal, really. Alright, and we are ready. Yeah, that's about what I expected. I wanted to think Scream Tail was showing up, but I guess it makes sense that it didn't because I have things like Golden Go that just completely wall out its support moves. So Palafin, Spectrier, Gliscor, and Hydreigon. So it's big 4. No Arcanine. Bisharp showed up with Toxtricity. So no Hitmontop, no Thwacky. So he can't remove hazards because both of his defoggers don't have defog. So we are just going to go with the DEOXYS-SPEED. 2 dark types, it's a little scary. Obviously, we can taunt whatever he leads. The only thing that outspeeds this Deoxys is Scarf Spectrier. It is faster than even Scarfed Palafin, so we're not too worried there. As far as what hazard is better, I guess Rocks is always better because he's got 2 mons off the ground. They're only worse into Bisharp, and we kind of want one of each if we can get it. So yeah, here we go. This determines a lot of playoff seeding. It's pretty exciting, honestly. We had that little kind of bungle in the middle, and now we're kind of back in it. So if we look at his weakness chart, dang, even with just these 6, he doesn't have any major weaknesses. Leads with the Toxtricity, makes me think it's like a T-Spike mon. It's not going to stop me from taunting him, though. Because Scarf doesn't outspeed us. If he's Volt Switch into a Scarfer, then he got me. But I'm not willing to let him get a Shift Gear up immediately. Because he could Terra here. I think his Terra types are... I know they're at least normal and flying. I actually don't know the third. It's one of his stabs. So he immediately hard switches into Gorgon, which is the Hydreigon, which is fine. We outspeed it even if it's Scarfed. So it can't do any kind of sub or anything. It can Dark Pulse us, but we're Sash, so that's fine. We might even take one. So we'll just go for a Rocks. He said his Switch has a problem with overheating, so I'm going to try to make fast moves, which means I definitely could make more mistakes. Hopefully not. I almost ran Ice Beam Superpower, but I just really like Taunt. So we'll get our Rocks up. Should be really nice. I don't see him bringing a lot of boots. He does just U-turn, breaks our... breaks our Sash. Barely does a third. So that's probably standard, if I had to guess. Like, no attack, investment. Yeah, that's very standard. Hydreigon, we can't really learn a whole lot from that. U-turn makes me think he's choiced. But we wouldn't be able to tell, because, yeah, I think Choice Scarf, Hydreigon, yeah, it doesn't outspeed us. We ran 1 point faster than Scarf Palafin, which is not likely, but if we're already outspeeding Hydreigon, we might as well just catch Palafin too. Gliscor gets a free switch in, probably gets his Toxic Orb up. It does get his Toxic Orb up. So we can do some chip damage to this. Earthquake's not KOing. U-turn's not KOing. Knockoff is probably not KOing unless he's offensively invested, and significantly offensively invested at that. And Psynoise is doing about a third, so I am just going to go for it. A spike might be nice with all the switching he's already doing, but I feel like chip on this is pretty important. So we'll get to see if he has attack investment or not. If he knocks us out with this, I assume he has significant attack investment. Does not knock us out, he's defensive. So he can't heal. We'll get a notepad up, because I forgot. And Gliscor is T-Orb with knock. We know Hydreigon is U-turn. So I could go for a Psychic Noise here to get him really low, or I could go for a Spike to chip down the rest of his team. A lot of my calcs like both a Rock and a Spike, so I am just going to go for that, and he does switch, probably into a Dark type. It does go back into the Hydreigon, so it was a good Spike on our part. We could do one more Spike, but I don't know that it's that good. Obviously, he can U-turn here. It knocks us out and gets him switch initiative if we switch. I mean, we have a couple of good switches in this between Moltres and Hands. So I could go Moltres. What does that bring in? Toxtricity, maybe? We don't want that. We want to avoid that Toxtricity getting as many free switches as possible. So I think I could just go for one more Spike. It is slightly more chip damage. Might as well. It does something with the turn, because I'm almost sure this is a U-turn. And sure enough. So he will knock out DEOXYS. But this DEOXYS was not really meant to knock anything out. I did kind of want to save it. Because it is nice in the back. If he's like modest Toxtricity, we might actually outspeed it, even though it gets +2. But if it tears, obviously Psynoise is not doing crazy damage. Goes into Savior, which is back into the Toxtricity. He will take Stones and Rocks, so he takes almost 30% on switch in. And we have options here. I meant to be Earthquake on Hands. That is a huge oversight on my part. Oops. I did not mean to have Volt Switch on it. I just realized. Which I guess it doesn't matter with Toxtricity because he probably Terras in front of me anyway. If we look at Grafaiai into the Toxtricity, Knock is probably KOing. If he's Choice Scarf, then he might KO us outright with a Boom Burst. How important is Hands? Kind of important. I mean, yeah, I think Iron Hands is a totally fine play here. Boom Burst never 2-hit KOs us, so I am pretty safe to go for an Ice Punch here. It does like 40 to 47. Earthquake obviously would have blown this back. If he Terra Flyings, we're in good shape. Terra Normal Boom Burst might 2-shot us. Actually, Terra Normal Boom Burst will 2-shot us. Because I only EV'd for non-Terra Normal. So if he does go for Shift Gear though, then one Terra Normal Boom Burst never knocks us out, and we can like Drain Punch next turn. Ice Punch is very safe here though. Like the best thing he could bring in is Palafin, but he's Volt Switch, does 39 damage, so we can get a really good idea of his set. Does not appear to be choice specs. He is max special attack, maybe modest. We actually can't tell because modest and timid both get the 39 roll. But he's not specs, which is cool. Hydreigon comes in, so he does get to take an Ice Punch. I think he probably takes one. Yeah, almost knocks him out. But does do a good chunk. So we know that Toxtricity is Volt Switch. So he's very pivot heavy this week, which is great that we brought the Hazard stack. So obviously we could bring Moltres in here, and that would force Toxtricity back in. I don't really want Hydreigon taking, or I don't really want Iron Hands taking a big chip here, because I think hands is better versus Palafin. And is fine versus his other special attackers, and is actually really good versus Bisharp. So I don't want to take any chip that I don't have to take. He's not tried to set up rocks yet. He has the Gliscor and the, I suppose, the Bisharp that can, and this that can. He goes for Earth Power. So that makes me think he is almost certainly choiced in some way, because Hydreigon normally doesn't like a whole lot of coverage, unless it's choice, because he likes things like Sub and Nasty Plot. His easiest switch here is definitely Bisharp. He may U-turn into it. Clearly we're not doing much damage to it no matter what. I mean, yeah, we're doing 15% with Fiery Wrath. And then against this Hydreigon, I mean, Fiery Wrath may not even knock this out. I think it does, though. He just goes for Draco, so he's not choiced. Does not quite do half. Hopefully this knocks out, now that I'm looking at it. If he's AV, it actually probably doesn't. Okay, but against all odds, we do knock him out. So Hydreigon is gone. Moltres gets a KO, and Hydreigon ends up going 1-1. He goes Bluey. That's new. Bisharp does come in. Could definitely be Sword Stance. We do another 30% to Bisharp. Obviously, Hands is a free switch here. This is really meant for Palafin. It's a backup check to Bisharp. Let me just look. If he's Sword Stance, he's got to be quite a bit of speed to outrun Blastoise. And he shouldn't two-shot us. This does make me weaker into a Palafin endgame that it looks like he's setting up for. Blastoise definitely can come in and just click Body Press, though. This is hard. I need something in the back for the Toxtricity. So I think I am going to switch into Blastoise, because obviously Moltres is not doing anything to Bisharp. He doubles, hopefully predicting Hands. Zoidberg comes in. Gliscor, okay, cool. So looks like he was predicting Hands to come in. There was no way to EV Hands to live 2 EQs from Gliscor, or not a good way to, honestly. So we only know he had Knock. I think Surf KOs. Depends on his investment. We know he's not super offensive, so it really depends on if he's physically or specially defensive. We don't want to take chip on this if we don't have to, but I think it's fairly safe to flip turn. Because I'd say he wants to switch, because he might fear a Shell Smash. So I am just gonna go for a flip turn. Easiest thing for him to bring in would be Palafin. Does just go for Toxic, so that's a little annoying. We could have claimed Gliscor right here, but we didn't, so that's a little frustrating. We'll flip turn. Dang, I should have just knocked it out, I guess. So we will get 12% back at the end of this turn. I think Golden Go might knock it out. It's close. It's risky. I think it's my only option. I actually think I should have went for Surf there. I messed up. I really should have just hit while he was in. So we didn't bring Landorus. Didn't bring Alcremie. I almost brought Alcremie. Like, I thought the set looked really good here. Yeah, we don't have great ways of KOing this Gliscor, actually. Moltres is another option, but obviously Bisharp can just switch back in kind of for free. And yeah, we're only doing like 30% to him. So we'll just go into Golden Go. Maybe we'll hit him with a little confusion. He'll be like, why? Does he get above half again with this? Looks like just barely. Shadow Ball always knocks out Gliscor. Okay, so he does just immediately click Earthquake. But this should KO. Nice. So he was fully Fizz Def. So Golden Go goes up 1 something. And Gliscor ends at a 1. That's amazing for us. That opens up Grafaiai really well for the late game. Probably will end up Terra-ing Grafaiai. So both his aerial mons are gone, which means everything else is taking 30% every time it comes in. So he knows we're Scarfed now. I assume if he had speed on Gliscor, he should know we're Scarfed. We always Scarf, outspeed Spectrair that's not Scarf. Bluey comes in, so back to the Bisharp. He also takes hazards again. Not 30%, more like 25, since he takes half from rocks. He knows that last time our switch-in was Blastoise. Is that going to stop me from going again? I don't think so. Because he doesn't have great doubles here. He could do Spectrair, but we live 1. He could do Palafin, but Baby Palafin's not scary. I guess he could do Toxtricity, but that didn't really matter either way. He does just Swords Dance. I don't think he ever KOs us. Bisharp to our Blastoise. We're doing 68 to 80 with Body Press, but we are Rocky Helmet. Looks like a Throat Chop is doing about 60% to us from Adamant Max Attack. So if he's Life Orb, there's a roll where he KOs us, but we're just going to pretend it doesn't exist. And obviously Body Press KOs him. I forgot he was chipped so significantly by hazards. And honestly, if Toxtricity comes in, say we KO this, we live on a little and Tox comes in, I'm going to Roar. It's shown Volt Switch, so it's probably not set up, but I can't let it get set up. So, let's think about his move a little here. Might Terra. I didn't really consider that possibility. I guess I could have went for Roar here. He doesn't Terra, he Sucker Punches. It does about half, so that hurt a ton. But he will take Rocky Helmet Chip and Body Press. And we do knock out the Bisharp, so that's one less threat. So now we have to ask the question, do we sack this to Toxtricity or do we save it for Helmet Chip on Palafin? So Blastoise goes up 1. Oh. Okay. Palafin just comes in. Gets chipped down. He probably saw this as the best possible opportunity for him to get Palafin in. So what was that we just knocked out? Bisharp? Ended up going 0-1. I am just going to go for Roar. I guess I could Flip Turn. But if he Flip Turns, I want to get extra chip on him. So he does just Flip Turn. So he'll take Helmet Chip. And then we'll Roar him maybe back into Palafin, which is kind of great. So Palafin is Flip Turn. I did not calc that damage also. I can kind of calc it, but I think Baby Palafin would be really hard to tell. Tox comes in. We could have surfed and maybe knocked it out, but now we just force it out anyway. So it's good for us. So either Spectrair or Palafin comes back in here. And it is the Spectrair, which is not great because he's set up to get a Grimnay. Especially with how low we are. But I actually do think we can save Blastoise at 10 health. I almost ran Aqua Jet with Torrent, which would have been kind of insane. But it would have been pretty cool. Moltres should always take 2. Let's see. Spectrair versus our Moltres. Yeah, I mean, we always take 2 Shadow Balls from non-Specs Spectrair. It's just Draining Kiss. It'll be like a roll. But it should be fine. Iron Hands always also takes 2, or takes 1 really easily, so we should be fine. If he's set up, it's a little scary if he's like sub Calm Mind. But if he's all that, then he shouldn't have a really good move for Grafaiai or this. So he's Psychic. Okay, so he heavily predicted the AV Mon to come in. So that's good for us. I think I can just Fiery Wrath for free here. I think it knocks out everything. May not knock this out, but it's a roll. He does switch. Whatever comes in, I imagine gets knocked out. We're not very invested. Savior comes out. We'll take the hazards again, which have just been disgusting. And yeah, it knocks out. So Palafin probably comes in here. So we just have to not fumble the end game. So how much does Spectre do to Iron Hands with Psychic? If it's not Specs, it doesn't two-shot. If it's Specs, it's a roll. And we're hurt a little bit, so it probably does knock us out. So this is sitting at like 30%. Worst case is he gets a sub up, but I think we're totally safe to just sack Blastoise and then go into Grafai, Terra, knock off. Or knock off, Terra, knock off. The worst he could do here is like bulk up, but I don't think a Jet Punch knocks out Golden Go at +1. No, so we're fine. So I guess real worst case is a sub, but we have 2 mons that would outspeed it, so it's fine. Does just Jet Punch, so Helmet will do really good chip, get him really low. Do we see an item? No Life Orb, no anything, no item. Okay, Jet Punch. So Blastoise ends up going 1-1. And Palafin gets a KO. I will just go Golden Go, I suppose, or Grafai. What is less likely to get knocked out by Spectre? I guess Golden Go would force him to be Specs. But I kind of just want to go Grafai, honestly. I eat a Jet Punch. I'm not going to Terra immediately. I'm just going to go for a knock, because that definitely knocks him out and definitely is our best option versus Spectre. We'll get to see if he's banded here, which is cool. If he is, then the Spectre is actually a headache, because then it could get a boost. So he does Jet Punch. Holy crap, what? What? I'm looking at the wrong Pokemon. Oh, that was almost a throw. He was banded. Holy dude. Yeah, that was 93 to 110. That was in his favor to KO if he's adamant. If he's timid, it wasn't. But, oh man, that was almost a choke. So we do give him a boost here. We can hope he goes for Psychic. I could also switcheroo him an item, but I think it's best to just Terra and knock off. If I throw this because I wanted to give... if I wanted to give Grafai more kills, then that's really funny. But hopefully not. I'm hoping he just clicks Psychic here. That would be best case. So we will Terra. Didn't end up needing Blastoise's Terra. So we did have Terra Dragon on Blastoise as a backup for Toxtricity. Luckily did not need it. So hopefully he could click Psychic here. But who knows. Clicks Draining Kiss. Okay, so that will take us out. Heals him up. We do give him a boost, so I might have made a mistake. But if he's... Actually, no. We should be fine. Because if he's Scarf, Draining Kiss does nothing to Golden Go. And if he's not Scarf, he doesn't outspeed us. Unless I messed up the EVs. It looks like we hit 396 though, and Spectre at max is 394. So it should be fine. Damn. So wanted to make Grafai look good and ended up almost choking with it. So Shadow Ball should always KO this through a Casset Berry. So we'll just click it, we do outspeed, and I think that's the game. That is the game. Alright, GG's to my opponent. We do end up clutching it. Iron Hands ends up getting no kills again. I don't know why I'm so bad at getting kills with hands. Maybe it's just where I don't really have a Trick Room mode. I can't really go super offensive with it. But yeah, we end up going 5-2. I think we're clinched playoffs now, and we're just fighting for a higher spot. If you enjoyed the draft content, I would appreciate a like and subscribe if you enjoy it. If you've made it this far, leave a comment letting me know that you made it this far and you enjoy it, and give me suggestions. What Pokemon do you want to see from me in the future? I have some plans for this channel. I want to get more into working with my voice in the future, so I'm going to start uploading some more like narration type videos. And I have some decent ideas in mind for other videos to upload. I'm going to try this again. I'm getting back into the swing of things, and I really want to try to make this work, so we'll see. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week for the final regular season. We've got potential of 1 to 2 more leagues on the horizon, so get ready for that, and we will see you later.